Sound though, please. So, just like we were hearing before, right? God does work in our lives and he speaks to us in amazing ways. But did you ever have that main moment that you can look back to where you felt like positively convicted by God? Is there a standout moment for you?
So definitely. So I guess my journey with God's been very exciting, very weird, very long. Taking me many different places. I think I was quite lucky, just a bit of backstory before I get to answer your question properly. To grow up in like a family in a church that was very invested in God, had a great relationship with Jesus. I was a soul survivor like a lot with this church and the other church. And I think in that environment where like the Lord's really moving in those spaces, I was quite lucky to encounter Jesus, and he showed me like what love he has for me. Like I spoke in tongues when I was quite young, and I've had really positive experience with the Spirit, but I guess I never really had that one experience where for myself I found like my own upper room, or I had that own moment with God where I really felt him touch me and speak to me. And that wasn't until recently when I was like saved maybe 6 months ago. So I mean, after that I've had all these experiences with God, kind of went and done my own thing, and then didn't go very well, and then I've come back and really found a connection with Jesus. And it wasn't until maybe 6 or 7 months ago that I first had my first like real moment of God like speaking to me and like feeling like overwhelmed with something that's taken away from me. So when I was younger, I had quite a bad problem with like going out drinking. I was borderline alcoholic probably. And recently, when I was saved, back in October or November, I made that thing where I was like, it's not going to drink as much. If I drink, it'd be a drink or whatever. But I found it creeping back into my life slowly. Back earlier this year, I noticed more if I went out, I'd drink a bit more, or if I'd go out for like a meal, I'd have a drink, but I don't really need to, that kind of thing. And I noticed that I was allowing that to be back in my life. So I've spent one morning, I remember going home on a Sunday morning after church. I'd been out the night before, I didn't feel great. I remember praying to God like, Lord, this isn't from you. I don't want it in my life anymore. Please rid this of me, convict this of me. Like, I want to be able to be nearer to you, and this is something that's blocking me. It's stopping me from having a real, true relationship. And in that moment, I was in my car. I like to call my car my tabernacle sometimes. I just felt the Lord rid me completely. I felt a rush of the Spirit, head to toe. And I just felt so much lighter. And I almost started crying. Like, it was mental. I just felt so much freer. And since then, my relationship with God has just gone from strength to strength. And it's pretty incredible, really.
Into that. Yeah, round of applause. God, that's huge. So you said you had that, that moment like in your car in your tabernacle, right? When you took it to God. You were like, look, this is who I am right now. This is how I am. But you just gave it. It's maybe trickier than it sounds. But could you give me like a one word feeling for like before and after that you can quite distinguish kind of thing?
Oh man, I don't know. It's like proper joy, I guess. That's 2 words, all right. Do you want to keep going?
I know.
But proper joy, like the first sense of like real peace and real freedom, I guess. And it's just something I never had. People talk about fear of the Lord quite a lot. I didn't even know what that was until about 8 months ago. And then in that moment, I felt like, actually, this is what it's meant to be. It's not something to be scared of. It's to be in awe of God, just to be obedient to him. And in that moment, then your relationship with him becomes so much deeper. And if you take something to him, then he will always answer. And if it's not from him, then it will go, I guess.
Got nothing else to say. That was great. Round of applause for Sam, please, everyone.